How come boxing isn't toxically masculine? Just in and of itself, what makes it not toxically masculine? It seems to fit all of the traits that you listed for toxic masculinity. So how come the sport itself isn't toxically masculine? What sets it apart?
Well, who said it wasn't toxic?
That's what I'm asking you. Is
Okay.
boxing in and of itself just the
I,
act
I
of pu
personally,
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead, go just the act of pugilism in and of itself, two men going in and knocking the shit out of each other in a competitive way, which meets every threshold of toxic masculinity that you stated. Is it in and of itself toxically masculine?
I personally don't see a purpose in boxing, and I would consider that a byproduct of an example of toxic masculinity.
Same with UFC.
I don't watch UFC, but
Same with all
I
same with all
consider
male dominated team sports. For instance, why isn't football net toxic masculinity? Why isn't basketball toxic masculinity? Why aren't those things which fit the definitional criteria perfectly not toxic masculinity? Why not? What makes them different?
well, I can't think of I'm not gonna consider how sports are related to it, but when you mentioned boxing, I don't see the point in pummeling somebody to the point where um they have serious cognitive effects later on in life. I don't see the point in that.
So
But
therefore, it should be abolished,
yeah,
right?
I didn't say it should be abolished. I
Well,
just
why not? Why wouldn't you want to get rid of something that's toxically masculine? Why do you want to keep something which is toxically masculine as part of society? Exactly. That's weird to me.
do you
Why?
think it okay, do you think it's a problem to have a sport that encourages negative health outcomes in the future?
Hell no. I think that that's
What's the problem? So if the boxing is a product of toxic masculinity, and these are the problems that are known to arise from boxing, then it's a problem. I didn't say anything
no,
about
no.
that.
You're claiming. Hang on, hang on.
But I just
Yeah,
asked
hang
you
on,
if
hang
it's a
on. This
problem.
is that we have a
I just asked
distinction.
you if it was a problem, and you
Yeah,
said yes.
from my view, it's not. I'm talking about your view.
No, but I asked you is
Yeah.
if there are a problem with a sport that is known to cause significant
And
cognitive
the
or
answer
health
from
risks.
me was
You
what?
said yes. You
And the
said
answer
yes.
from me, no. I said no.
Okay, we can play that back, but you
Said
said yes.
no, 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 no. It's fine. If they want to knock the shit out of
Okay,
each other,
all
I'm
right.
fine with it.
Okay,
At
okay.
least that's what I
You're
meant by
fine with that.
yes.
Okay,
Right?
you're fine
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, I'm fine
So,
with it.
okay, so I have a couple things I want to
Well,
address.
hang on, hang on, hang on. Before we do, I want an actual answer to my question. Why aren't all team sports, which are men driven, what makes any of them not toxically masculine? What? What's the threshold breaker? Because they
Well,
fit your criteria perfectly.
athleticism is nothing is does not fit with the concept of what toxic
I
masculinity.
didn't say athleticism. I
Yeah, but
said
basketball, sports,
male driven team
basketball,
sports.
football,
Yeah,
um,
basketball, football. Tell me
those
which
are all male driven.
criteria,
That's part of
yeah,
athleticism.
which criteria don't they meet? Football and basketball for toxic masculinity. What criteria are they not meeting?
I didn't say that they met a criteria, so I don't
I'm
know.
asking you what criteria aren't they meeting?
Well, what's the point in the question?
Because I want to determine if from your view, football and basketball meet all of the criteria you gave me for toxic masculinity. And if they
No,
do, okay, then what is it that they don't meet as far as the criteria? What don't they
they've
meet?
not gone to the extreme of being harmful.
What is it? No, of course they are. They do the same exact thing boxing does. They beat up your body. They cause brain damage, especially football.
Basketball causes brain damage.
Oh,
I've
of course,
never heard
yeah.
that.
It causes stress
Yeah,
on
I
the
never heard
body. It causes limb damage. It causes all sorts of damage to the body. You think that professional athletes who go in there and they're running practices like this for hours and hours and hours at a time aren't damaging their body and long-term health? That's insane. Of course they are.
that. Okay. Well, okay.
So
Fine.
what is it? So what is it specifically that makes these two sports not toxically masculine? What?
I don't find them harmful to society. They're not
What is it?
harmful. They're not
But
harmful to. They're not harmful. They're not
how
toxic.
could it not be harmful when the players are
There's
getting?
nothing wrong with being. There's nothing wrong with being
How are
competitive.
they not
There's nothing wrong
harmful
with
when
competing.
players are
There's
getting their
nothing wrong with
brains?
competing
How are they not
at a
harmful
professional
when
level.
players are getting their brains bashed in football, right? They're getting concussions. Sometimes they die. They get all sorts of long-term health ramifications. They get brain damage, all the same shit you see in boxing. How are you going to say that's not harmful? How's that
Football is
not
another sport.
harmful?
First of all, football is another sport I don't get. But I don't watch football. I don't watch, but I'm just saying that for sports that where there's nothing wrong with being competitive as an athlete or
Yeah,
perform
but
at a professional level. There's
yeah,
other
but I think
way.
you're missing the point of the inquiry. The point of the inquiry is to say toxic masculinity needs to stop because it's bad for society, right?
I said
That's what's
toxic masculinity is a problem.
okay. And
So why
that,
don't you
well, if
address what the
I'm
problem
sorry, do you
is?
usually solve problems or do you just not solve problems? Because I
Yeah,
think
so
you, okay,
solving
great.
problems is looking how things get to an extreme. So you
Hmm.
address it before it gets to an extreme.
Yeah, but I mean, football is
There's
already
nothing.
football. What's an extreme of toxic
It's just like
masculinity?
sport. It's just like hazing in sports was was part of the sports culture. But when the industry looked at it and realized, well, there's a problem with it, that's kind of being taken out of the realm of sports. So you can still have
Well,
sport.
well, hang on,
Positive
back
and
up for
not.
me. When you say an extreme example of toxic masculinity, you just mean toxic masculinity which causes harm. That's it, right? That's all you mean by extreme?
I mean, when you look at the extreme, when what it means to be a man is taken to the extreme and becomes harmful, that is when it becomes toxic. So
Yeah,
when you
but what is the
address those
harm?
problems, remove it.
Yeah, but how do
Pardon me?
yeah, but when you're demonstrating harms, right? This
Okay.
is bad because it's harmful. If you are damaging your health by playing basketball professionally, how are you going to tell me that's not harmful?
Well, you can engage in any kind of work, whether it's physical or whether it's sitting at a desk
So
without.
all competition's actually harmful.
But when you're actively putting yourself in a position to be pummeled, I don't understand the point of that. I don't see the
What
point.
form of competition is not harmful? You're always harming somebody.
Not physically, not necessarily
You know, it
physically.
doesn't matter if it's physical. Bullying isn't physical. It can be physical, but it's not necessary that it is. What form of competition do you ever engage with somebody in where there's not a loser and therefore harm?
Yeah, but t competition is not toxic. So I don't understand the point of that
What do
question.
you mean it's not toxic? I thought all that toxic meant is competition that's masculine or some sort of masculine characteristic which causes harm. The harm is the problem here, right? It's the harm aspect that we want to, because you don't care about toxic masculinity if it's not harmful, right? You don't give a shit.
Well, in that instance, it's not toxic. So
Right, right, because it causes no harm. I'm saying that almost all forms of competition cause harm, for though almost all of them. So if really what your goal here is just basic harm reduction, and you think addressing toxic masculinity reduces harm, why not take it to the next step and address all competition, since all competition causes harm?
because as I said in my opening speech, too much of a good thing can becomes a bad thing. But I did not. I'm not. You chose to focus on sports or competition. I didn't say that. What I want to do is make a distinction between what is there's nothing wrong with something but it can become toxic when it is in when it's in its most extreme form. So there's I don't understand the point in bringing up
Yeah, I don't. What do you mean by the word
competition or
extreme there? What does that mean when you say extreme there? What is
because
that? No, no,
when
hang on, hang on. I'm not asking you to give me a because. I'm asking you what specifically when you say this is extreme, what does extreme there mean? What does that mean?
well, it's the difference between say jealousy and envy. It's the difference between um
Those are examples. I'm asking what it means. What is what it
it's an analogy for the extreme when it's too much of something.
Okay, so extreme just
Much of a
means
good thing is a bad thing when you've gone to the extreme or when you've done too much of when it's too much
and
of
how do we make value assessments on when something's too much?
well when it becomes harmful.
Okay, so then the whole point here is to reduce harm.
Okay, so you take a look at what aspects of competitive sports
so then hang
are
on.
harmful and you eliminate it.
So hang on. I'm just making sure we get clarity here in the semantics so that you can't weasel out of this. Really, your goal here is to make a reduction of harm, correct?
Okay,
Is that correct or not?
yes.
Okay, great. If that's correct, and then you're addressing toxic masculinity and saying toxic masculinity causes harm, things which are toxically masculine are harmful. Therefore, I suspect that you want to eliminate those things or remove those things, right? That they cause harm.
Yeah, in some instances it needs to be eliminated or just revisited.
So we should eliminate boxing.
No, it's
Why?
what I'm saying is that
Why not, though? That would definitely reduce harm.
Oh, okay, so, or sorry, then maybe there's a way to approach the sport of boxing where that can be eliminated. If maybe it is found years later that the sport is not something that is healthy for any individual to be partaking in. Who knows? Maybe in the future, maybe taken
I'm
away.
talking about right now.
It's the
Right
same thing
now,
as
two men walk into a ring and they beat the holy shit out of each other with their
I don't see
fists.
the point in that.
Yeah, I'm not asking if you see the point in it. I'm asking since it's obviously toxically masculine by your definition because it causes harm. Masculine behavior which causes harm is toxically masculine. That is
I didn't say masculine behavior causes harm.
I didn't so I
You're
didn't say that
you're
no
making a
no no
connection.
hang
Hold
on hang
on,
on.
you're making a connection between masculinity and violence, which I didn't. I did not
No,
say
no,
that
no, no.
masculinity causes harm.
I'm not saying you're claiming that masculinity itself is harmful. I'm saying that you're claiming that a masculine trait, which is taken to its extreme, extreme here meaning harmful, is the thing you're trying to stop. So a masculine trait which leads to harm, right? That thing you want to stop that thing, correct?
I don't. It's hard for me to say I want to stop it because it's just there's more that goes into it. But at the end of the day, I
Well,
think
I don't
boxing is a product of
then now I
toxic
don't understand the
masculinity.
position. So honestly, I don't actually understand the position. I asked you specifically. You said that you want to stop extreme versions of the whatever the masculine behavior is. When I ask what does extreme mean here, you say what extreme means here is too much of it leading to harm. So this means masculine thing plus too much of it, which leads to harm, is the thing we're trying to reduce or get rid of here. Boxing meets the criteria of too much of masculine thing, which leads to harm. So why aren't we getting rid of boxing then?
Okay, can you not include create a complete face guard or something? Can you still not
You're still going to get harmed.
participate?
You're still going to get
Can you
harmed.
still not
Getting
participate
punched in
in
the
sport of boxing?
face is harmful.
If you were to create a mask that covers your entire face, can you still not participate in the sport of boxing? It's the same
No, 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 you
hockey.
can't. No.
It's the same thing as hockey. Once upon a time, they didn't have face guards.
And
When
you
you
know what?
realized it's not a
And
good
what's a
idea
prime
to have
eating?
pucks flying at your face,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
said, you know
yeah,
what? Let's make a safety. Let's look at safety and create a face guard for hockey. So that changed it. So it is safer to play hockey, but you can still play in a highly
yeah.
competitive arena of hockey.
Yeah, but in hockey, one of the things that they do is take their face mask off and kick the shit out of each other, and it's completely legitimate to do in the game because it's part of the rules of the game. And when you're talking about boxing, the thing that makes boxing interesting and the reason why men want to compete in it is specifically because they're not wearing face masks and they want to punch each other's faces in the most professional way possible to win lots of money and compete with each other. Why is and even if it was to be the case that you came in as mother nanny to tell men this isn't very good for you, put your face mask on, and they put face masks on, you're still getting hit in a mask. It's still going to snap your head and this and that. It's still going to cause harm. So we should just get rid of it, right?
No, you can just find a way to address it.
Okay,
That's
what's
my
the way that you would address boxing where it 100% would cause no harm?
I don't know. I'm not a
You
boxer.
don't know.
I'm
I
not.
don't know.
So when I research the sport of boxing, then I can let you know. But I'm not a boxer. I don't participate in that sport, so I'm not the
Mhm.
one to be asking that. You'd have to speak to like to an athlete in that realm.
Okay, well then let's
All
move
right.
on to we'll move on to
Okay.
something else then. How about
Right. No, I have
yeah.
I have
Okay,
a
go ahead.
question
I'll
because
let you
I
do
have
an
a
inquiry,
question.
fine.
So you said that when you mentioned examples of how toxic masculine men are actually the ones that women go after. You mentioned Elon Musk.
Yep.
Um, he's that's like 14 different children, different mothers or whatever. So then it's fine to create a broken home then. Because it's funny that you also said that one of the problems of one of the problems of that speaks to the already men you were quick to say single mothers, which
Yeah.
is a broken home. So can you
There's
tell me
no there's no contradiction there.
so, okay, so it's fine if Elon Musk is a toxic masculine
That's
creating,
hang on, wait a second.
but it's not
Do you know the distinction between a descriptive and prescriptive claim?
explain that.
Okay, descriptively, I'm telling you something that is. Prescriptively, I'm telling you something that ought be.
That is well, that is not will not be.
No, ought
Is what
be.
you said?
Should
Okay.
be. It's prescriptive, this should be. Descriptive is this is. Me
So
explain
what should
me explaining to you that Elon Musk is rich, is f***ing lots of women, and is having lots of children is in fact the case. Do we
okay.
disagree on that?
Is that a problem?
No, no. Well, hang on. Before we get to that, do we agree that that is in fact the
Yeah,
case?
yes.
Yes. Great. Now, you forgot in the rest of my opening statement where I said, as a Christian, right, I actually battle against red pillars and people like this who prescribe this. But it's just with another form of what you would consider toxic masculinity to be, which is something which is based in patriarchy, female submission, and the idea that men are the heads of families and the head of the church. So that would actually combat single motherhood, since within my toxically masculine worldview, the entire goal of having children under God is through a marriage, right? And you have the support system of the church which assists with that. So one of the major reasons you end up with divorces and you see so few divorces among the really, really heavily religious is because of that support network. So it addresses both of these things. It's both descriptively true that I see lots of these red pill guys, lots of hot women, and rolling in the money, and tons of more women seem to show up to have lots of with them every time they turn around. And it's the case that I think that my worldview is superior at the same time. Most wallets still plug into the same system we were trying to escape in the first place. And that's why Rumble built Rumble Wallet. It's a self custodial wallet that lives inside an ecosystem that actually defends free speech and financial freedom. No bank holding your balance, not even Rumble can touch your funds. This is your money on your keys, on your terms. So if you're serious about sovereignty, financial and digital, this is where you level up. Go to wallet.rumble.com or search Rumble Wallet in your app store, download it, back up your recovery phrase, and move your money where it belongs, in your hands.
So Elon Musk as your model, as a representative of toxic masculinity, do you think it is a problem that he's going out and creating broken homes?
Sure. Thanks. Terrible.
So you have toxic masculinity as a problem.
Well, that's not. Hang on.
No,
But
because
I'm combating it with even more toxic masculinity.
you mentioned him
No, I'm
as a
combating it.
model of
I'm combating it.
as
Yeah.
somebody who represents what toxic masculinity is
Yeah.
about. You said
Yeah.
he gets to sleep with a bunch of women. He has all these children, and it doesn't matter because for whatever reason he can do what he wants. So
Yeah,
that's
let
what
me
men
yeah,
want.
I
So
understand. I
that
understand what you're
broken
yes.
homes.
Yes, I understand your
Is
point.
that a
So,
problem?
yes, let me give you the
Okay.
response. Let me give you the response here, right? So when I say yes, I would combat Elon Musk and his ideology of having sex with lots of women to have children all over the United States. That has no bearing on whether or not I would use the most toxically masculine cultural religious practices of our time, which is patriarchal Christianity. So you're just back to the same problem. I might say, hey, I think that this is harmful, but I'm combating it with actual toxic masculinity. So what do you mean? If the answer to toxic masculinity being harmful is just more toxic masculinity, then sure.
So basically, we agree that toxic masculinity is a problem.
No, it seems to be a solution, actually.
Yeah, how could it be a solution if you are in a you're admitting yourself that who you consider to be a model of the toxic masculine man that men want, he's a problem. What he's contributing to
No, what I'm admitting to is that we need a much more
for
toxically
Elon Musk.
masculine system to
We need more
combat
Elon
this
Musk.
pseudo toxic masculine system. It's not even a good enough toxically masculine system.
Okay,
It needs to be more toxically masculine, way more. There's not enough of that. He's only going partway into toxic masculinity. I'm talking about full on church submission. This half measure Elon Musk is like, I'm half egalitarian. I actually respect these women. This is fine. From my view, I'm like, these women are who are basically selling their womb for $1 million to a millionaire, right? So I'm like, more of this toxic masculinity is what is necessary to save us from these half measures of toxic masculinity.
so these women that you call that are engaging with men like Elon Musk, you
Well,
said
hang on. Well, hang on. Hang on.
hold
I
on.
just want to make sure we get the semantics right. When
Okay.
I say, I'm specifically saying these women are selling a service to Elon Musk in exchange for money and material gain. Do you agree that that's true? That they're doing that?
Sure,
Then they're
sure.
yeah.
Did you not list material gain as one of the benefits of toxic men?
Sure, it can be a benefit to some men.
Okay, so it's not a benefit for women.
It can be a benefit for women too.
So is it a problem? So is it a problem or is it not?
It's not a problem. Material gain in and of itself wouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Materialism, from my view, would be a problem, which means that solely you are pursuing something for the purpose of material gain and only material gain. I would consider that problematic, but not very toxically masculine. Usually the toxically masculine are doing the things they're doing for some higher purpose than just for the purpose of owning something. There's some other purpose behind it.
Oh, and what higher purpose do these highly competitive toxic masculine are they usually looking for?
Things like status, things like respect, stuff like this.
Okay.
Things which you would consider to be immaterial concepts, not material concepts. But materialism can be part of those concepts. Like, for instance, if you wanted to have status, I think that if you had 14 really, really hot chicks who followed you around everywhere half naked, that could be conflated with some sort of status symbol.
All right. So is that a problem?
Well, from my view, I would consider that to be immoral, but not toxic masculinity. It's a half measure of toxic masculinity. It's still giving way too much. What it's doing is it's giving way too much egalitarianism to women. It's still settling women in some sort of equal phase. And I don't consider that toxic masculinity. I consider that more egalitarianism. We need toxic masculinity to fix that sort of degeneracy. That's what I think.
Okay, so the degeneracy, I just want to be clear, the degeneracy that toxic masculinity is supposed to fix is what, in your words?
It would be things like massive promiscuity, going after materialism just for the sake of materialism, the idea of having no kind of moral barometer whatsoever, the idea of egalitarianism, that men and women are interchangeable widgets. These would be the things that toxic masculinity would be fixing, yes.
Even though male promiscuity is part of the toxic masculine?
That's not that was nowhere in your definition. So,
That's not in my, well, I had to pick one of several definitions, but
well, next time you better pick one that includes
that
the thing that you're making the claim about, huh?
if you look at definitions, any kind of definition online, um, promiscuity in males or the ability to attract male women female attention even when you refer to a couple examples of you if you have several women on your arm and that constitutes status that is all linked to promiscuity among men. So why is that not a problem? You just said that that toxic masculinity is supposed to fix the issue of promiscuity, but now all of a sudden it's fine if promiscuity is good with men. So I'm a bit.
I don't have any idea how you even came to this conclusion. So
Oh no, you said
so
that
here's my position. I'll
you
make the
talked
position
about.
clear.
Hold on, let me just
Okay, go
because
ahead.
you said you weren't clear, so I'll make it clear. You
Okay.
were saying that one of the examples you use about toxic men, toxic masculine men who are
I
one of
didn't
the ways
call them
they said
toxic
that
men.
one of these ways that these men can achieve status is with they'll have a bunch of women on their arm. Maybe I was wrong in not choosing one of of a million definitions that
I
there
think I
are
figured out the disconnect
masculinity,
here, actually.
but promiscuity is part
Mm.
of that type of prowess in men is also part of the toxic masculine behavior. So
Well, then you're just adding things to your
so
definition.
if you are saying that toxic masculinity is supposed to
Mm.
fix promiscuity, I'm unclear as to how it's okay with men but not for women.
So
When you fix
let me try this again. My opening statement said, quote, when progressives talk about toxic masculinity, they enjoy bringing up figures like Andrew Tate and Myron Gaines. Okay. When progressives, so from the progressive view, they see this as being toxic masculinity. I see it as just being a more progressive degeneracy. Has nothing to do with toxic masculinity at all. What I'm saying is that in order to fix that progressive degeneracy, we need more toxic masculinity. And the most toxic of all forms of masculinity is the patriarchal Christian church. That's the most toxic. And so, since I want to use the very most toxic of all toxic masculinity by the definition that you gave, I want the Christian church to come in and assist with putting a stop to all of this progressive nonsense. Pretty simple. So I think toxic masculinity will actually fix most of this shit. That's what I think.
In your opening statement, you mentioned Elon Musk. You mentioned that
From
women.
the progressive view,
Hold on.
from the view of the progressive. I'm not a progressive. I separated my intro into two parts, the progressive view and then Andrew Wilson's view. The whole second part was my view. You keep quoting the first part, which is your view, the things you consider to be toxic masculinity, which I don't believe are. I think that they're just forms of progressive egalitarian degeneracy, and that actual toxic masculinity, the things which are you would consider to be the most extreme versions of masculinity, which is women are to submit to the patriarchal order. That's the Christian church.
So
That's my view.
what
That's
is
what
that supposed?
toxic masculinity is. If we're looking at the extremes of masculinity,
So did we not have a point in time when women were more submissive men or their partners?
yeah,
So what happened? If that's supposed to be the answer to fix the problems of today, why did we revert from that?
because of birth control,
If that was the answer,
because of birth control
for the
mostly.
birth control.
Yeah.
Oh, that had nothing to do with the fact that there was a feminist movement where women felt that they were devalued in
Yeah,
society.
and what year
Got
what year did birth
that has nothing to
control?
do with
Yeah,
that
what year did birth control come out? Do you know?
between the 60s and 70s.
Oh, and when was that big feminist movement you're talking about?
You know how long women have been fighting
Hey,
for
answer my
rights?
question. When was that big feminist movement you're talking
Which
about?
movement? You know how long the
The
feminist movement has been on
hang
board?
on, hang on. The primary feminist movement that you would be referencing for when women started moving out of those submissive roles,
I didn't
when they
reference.
started moving out of those submissive roles was between which years again? The 60s and 70s, man. Around the same time as birth control, man. Wow, that's crazy. The connection there that now you can have without it leading to reproduction. And so because of that, there's no consequences. That's crazy.
That's entirely why where women stop submitting. It is completely due to birth control. Is that you're
That's
pointing
what
to that?
rearranged. That's what rearranged interpersonal male and female dynamics was the ability to have without consequences.
No, I think the women's movement has.
This isn't think. There's no think about this. This is well
I know what
established
you're saying,
data.
but I'm telling you what I know. The women's movement
Oh,
has been going on for much longer than the 60s and 70s.
yeah, but I'm talking about the
There's
primary.
hold on. There was an iconic speech by
Mm,
Sir Junior Truth, Ain't I a Woman?
yeah,
And it was at a women's rights convention. That was in the 1860s.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Feminism
so
has been around.
this is how long women have been
Mm.
fighting for their rights.
We're not talking
Then
about women.
you get to a point where now you have instituted a movement
Woman, bring me another cup
where
of
hold
coffee.
on where you now institute a movement where now it's beginning to gain steam, and then
Hmm.
finally you have the benefits of that. But to say that birth control is the only reason for the feminist movement,
I didn't say it was the only one.
Leslie,
I'm giving.
you,
Yeah.
you guys are doing great going back and forth. I just want to see if I can maybe get you to connect that back to the prompt of is toxic masculinity a problem? Kind of going towards more of a argument for feminists there instead of away from arguing against,
Okay. Okay, sure.
I'm sure maybe it would have got there. I just want to maybe see if we could arc back.
Okay, I'm just going through my notes of some of his points on the kind of men that women tend to go for.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that
I
more
find
masculine or more feminine men, by the way? Like, would you say that the men you go for are more masculine or more feminine? Why do I have a feeling that
I'm
you go for more
masculine.
masculine men? Why do I have this feeling that you go for more
I don't
masculine
know,
men?
but
You do?
I
I am
yeah.
stunned. I am shocked. I am just,
Hold
oh,
on.
how, I can't believe it. How could it be possible that you, the arbiter who thinks toxic masculinity is bad, goes for more masculine men? I am
Yeah, no,
just,
no, ask me how long a toxic masculine man is gonna last with me.